to see how much was packed into this comparatively modest section of the massive game world. Seriously, just looking at the map had us taken aback by how large Pywell was.
What?
It is huge. Very much in the vein of. Admittedly, we felt overwhelmed by just how much you could interact with. You can actually go up to nearly.
I'm starting to see why this has gained so much hype now, and I feel like the fact I wasn't really paying attention to it. Now I'm just being hit with all this information. I feel like I'm in an electric chair. Okay, so I have been avoiding all information on Crimson Desert, and I don't think I can ignore it anymore. The hype from everyone else is getting so strong, or seemingly so strong. I think it's about time I checked out this game. I have seen bits and pieces here and there, and it looks cool, but I haven't actually delved into a video to watch what it's all about. So I think we'll start off with the trailer. The launch trailer. Okay, let's go. All right.
It's time.
What are we dealing with here?
To take back what was stolen.
Okay, we're gonna check out one of the previews as well after this.
Here. You were expecting me?
Well, you Greymanes are a hard lot to kill, clawing your way back from death's door over and over. How'd you do it? Let's find out.
It's looking very Witcher. Oh, yeah. Cool. Ooh. Boss fights. Holy shit. This is a Korean game, is that right? South Korean? Studio Pearl Abyss. Whoa, that reminds me of Red Dead Redemption a little bit. Whoa, you can ride dragons? Okay, cool. Holy shit. What is this game? Is that like Tears of the Kingdom? Like... Okay, there's so much here. This like reminds me of Breath of the Wild. What the fuck? Okay, and now I'm even more confused. Yeah, what the hell? I think we need to check out a preview because that was just a lot of information to take in, but it looked awesome, right? Okay, so I've clicked on to the IGN final preview for the game. Let's have a look. So yeah, I know about this is an open world game with a story, and I've heard things like Breath of the Wild and The Witcher, and that immediately just showed me, yeah, it looks a lot like Breath of the Wild and The Witcher, but also very unique. Like the combat and everything in there looked insane. The graphics looked insane. Okay, I'm excited to get into this just to see, you know, what we're actually going to be doing.
Now, a bloody battle unfolds between the Greymanes, who fight to uphold his
the Greymanes, okay,
and the Black Bear forces that seek to set it aflame.
Every once in a while, a particularly ambitious game comes along and immediately hooks the audience. In Crimson Desert's case, showing a grand-scale world that recalls elements of Breath of the Wild and The Witcher 3 quickly garnered a mystique for its ridiculously over-the-top ambitions for a new open-world action game. However, since its reveal back in 2019, it has taken a long time to get a clearer picture of how the ambitions driving Crimson Desert have taken shape. And now, in 2026, it's garnered some healthy skepticism.
I will just say, I know this video is in 1080p and has terrible YouTube compression, but that's just something that we've got to deal with.
Leading many to feel it might be one of those games that's just too good to be true.
It's us ordinary folk who are paying the price.
Thankfully, with the now firm March 19th release date fast approaching, we have some extended hands-on time with developer Pearl Abyss's large-scale single-player action game. After diving into the opening hours of this grand...
I will just say Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Witcher 3, two of my favorite games of all time. already right there. So the fact that they're pulling in from that, I loved Breath of the Wild as well, like the open world design and how that led into something like Elden Ring, like another one of my favorite games. That you see it, you go to it, you don't use too much of your UI, that type of thing. Hopefully it's got that element to it as well. And the combat from that trailer would just look crazy.
And scale,
I'm intrigued.
And sorcery adventure, we got to see just how detailed and vast the world of Crimson Desert is in real time, and what sorts of oddball quests and brutal combat encounters are to come in protagonist Cliff's adventures across Pywell.
Protagonist Cliff. I think I'm starting to feel like I should stream this or something. Make some...
Crimson Desert focuses on the story of wandering warrior Cliff, a member of the Greymane faction that seeks to keep the continent of Pywell safe during harsh times. But after a ruthless warlord decimates much of his crew, Cliff himself is seemingly killed in battle.
Okay.
But
gotta
he's
get revenge.
soon resurrected by mysterious new allies that come from the Sky Realm known as the Abyss. Now tasked with rebuilding the Greymanes, he'll recruit new and returning members to his cause, push the limits of his newfound powers, and directly confront a civil war and a malevolent force that's threatening the balance of the world.
I'm not sure I'd be much help on my own.
Originally planned as a direct prequel to the MMORPG Black Desert Online, Crimson Desert is now a standalone adventure set in the same universe. Even without knowing the lore of Black Desert Online, Crimson Desert keeps connections light aside from the similar high fantasy setting and, occasional references. It totally throws itself into the style of a Western high fantasy epic, but with the added energy of an Eastern style action game in the vein of Final Fantasy.
Cool.
The opening chapters of Crimson Desert do well to introduce Cliff as a rugged and stoic hero who can easily cut down enemies in his path.
Man, this looks so
cool. But is also willing to lend a helping hand.
It's like a real blender of like all the games I've loved over the last 10 years.
All thanks to you.
Though much of the footage we've seen showcased the grand spectacle and ludicrous action in Crimson Desert, our hands-on time largely focused on the more laid-back tutorial.
I did see that there was a Digital Foundry PS5 Pro video. We might check that out as well after this, and just to see graphically what it can do, because that's what I'll be playing on PS5 Pro. I'll be interested to see how it's running, because it looks really ambitious, and this video is obviously not doing it justice. But it's actually, the goal is to find out what the hell we're doing in the game. I think this is the right video to be checking out. Yeah.
Set in the Hernand region of Pywell. We had played Crimson Desert 3 times before this extended hands-on, all of which focused on isolated boss battles and spectacle
looks a little
combat.
bit like Elden Ring as well.
With this tutorial setting the tone for the pacing and storytelling, we've got a much better idea of the larger structure of this open-world adventure.
Obviously not the same
While
combat.
Crimson Desert has gotten a ton of comparisons to The Legend of Zelda, The Witcher, and even Dragon's Dogma,
I never played Dragon's
Dogma. What really
Dogma.
came to mind during our hands-on was Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, there it is.
Despite what we've seen before about how fast you navigate the massive world, at ground level, there is a surprising focus on navigating its densely populated areas with care and attention.
Was that the...
We spent a lot of time just wandering the back alleys, interacting with people going about their day,
it in the air
finding new shops and cooking recipes, and even uncovering optional activities that do a good job of making the world feel bustling and lived in.
What a woeful fate.
Some of our favorite moments from the opening hours came from seeing what sorts of side quests the townsfolk would pull us into. In one instance, we encountered a man who fell from his roof and needed help with cleaning his chimney. And that is exactly what we ended up doing for this side quest. We climbed up on the roof, positioned ourselves on the top of the chimney, and used our newly acquired broom to clear out the gunk to help the husband get some relief.
Oh, my back. You've done me a huge favor there.
Can you imagine if this game surpasses those? I don't see that happening, but at the minute I'm seeing like, oh, it's very much Breath of the Wild, very much Red Dead 2, very much The Witcher, but like, is it going to be its own thing? Probably. Looking at it, it does look unique as well. It's not just a copy of those games, you know.
Would you come off it, woman?
Look at him.
Despite the tone and action being serious, we're pleased to see how much humor and quirkiness were packed into Crimson Desert's opening hours. There are plenty of enemy bases to topple, but we also spent some time playing some back alley games of rock, paper, scissors with the local ruffians.
Let's play rock, paper, scissors.
No crying if you lose.
There's even a quest that had us rescue an abducted sheep to cheer up an upset child, and seeing the very serious Cliff engage in such activities was much more amusing than we expected.
Those smaller quests,
you were looking for.
if they can nail the smaller stuff as well.
Not Wooly. Wooly's got a fluffier tail.
Cliff begins his journey with a fairly modest skill set and knowledge of the world, and as in traditional open world action games, the larger pull of Crimson Desert will be to expand his abilities and insight. When you pick up quest information, recipes, and even bounty notices for roaming targets, Cliff will expand his knowledge and fill out his records of all the wildlife characters and important events of the world.
Choppy.
We were impressed to see how much was packed into this comparatively modest section of the massive game world. Seriously, just looking at the map had us taken aback by how large Pywell was. It was interesting to take in Crimson Desert's pacing, and its deliberately detailed approach to navigating and interacting with the world initially took some time to get used to. Even as a tutorial, we were kind of surprised to see how much time is spent on getting players to really take in the many features and opportunities to find. Granted, it is very much in the vein of Red Dead Redemption 2's movement and interaction, but admittedly we felt overwhelmed by just how much you could interact with. You can actually go up to nearly all citizens to greet them, or even rob them, provided you have a mask to disguise yourself, of course.
I pray the day greets you well.
Despite the range of activities, Crimson Desert is also a combat-heavy game. And even with Cliff's limited skills, the battles you can get into are quite brutal to see unfold. Initially, we started brawling with bandits and goblins around the city.
And it looks so
Still,
big.
eventually, things took a turn when rival knights and other faction leaders started looking to get a piece of Cliff.
I'm getting overwhelmed.
The mini-boss battle against Matthias was a particularly thrilling fight. And even as one of the early encounters, it did a good job of showing how visceral the battles can get. Eventually, Cliff will make trips to the mythical Abyss realm, where we navigated a series of floating ruins far in the sky. Stepping into these visually stunning environments was one of the best moments from our hands
I've not played Tears of the Kingdom,
and it also gave us
but this
a jaw-dropping view of the world's vast landscape.
This is
These
looking
are
like
also
it's
segments that
inspired from Tears of the
introduce the
Kingdom now.
new Abyss powers in some puzzle platforming challenges.
That's Breath of the Wild.
These magic powers elevate Cliff's combat and traversal skills to use his force-style powers to manipulate objects and use a force jump ability to propel him off the ground. Eventually, we were granted the ability to glide and took it out for a spin by skydiving back towards the ground. It is a fun ability to use, but it definitely takes a ton of stamina to get the most out of it.
The power to soar through the open skies is yours to command.
That's crazy.
Throughout the game, Cliff will acquire Abyss Catalysts, which will serve as skill points to upgrade stats and unlock new abilities. These upgrades include improved jumping and more combat skills, such as a suplex and more advanced sword strikes. In addition to exploring towns and the surrounding wilderness, we also get to see the early goings-on of the Greymane faction system, which focuses on building up a crew, sending them on missions, and gaining new resources. Though we weren't able to see it evolve much, it was impressive to see that it's actually a full-fledged management system that will continue to grow as you explore the world. We really enjoyed the flow and action in Crimson Desert, and completing the tutorial was a solid onboarding to the larger adventure ahead. Based on our previous hands-on time, Crimson Desert currently feels much more intuitive, and
I'm starting to see why this has gained so much hype now. And I feel like the fact I wasn't really paying attention to it, now I'm just being hit with all this information. I feel like I'm in an electric chair.
less complicated with its controls. Still, it had the recurring issue of being too complicated for its own good, with its systems trying to cram actions and features into a fairly limited set of submenus and combinations. For instance, you'll often have to manually equip key items and gear to activate some prompts, which can feel cumbersome. This all ties back into the attempts to make players feel like they're having a more tangible connection to the world, but it can often feel too overcomplicated for its own good. Along with the opening chapters, we also got a chance to get another look at the mid-game of Crimson Desert, which saw a powered-up Cliff take on new enemies and a more powerful boss that matches up to his souped-up skills. Moreover, Crimson Desert also includes new party members that can be swapped in if you want to try a different combat style. While Cliff is still the central protagonist, playing as the tanky berserker
around
Unka
like Yoda
or the nimble
in Attack of
and
the
fierce
Clones.
Damien offers up some fun alternatives to Cliff's playstyle. It does well to showcase the variety within Crimson Desert and how the game will ramp up with more zany encounters that blur the lines between a high fantasy adventure and steampunk fantasy. Even with the lengthy hands-on time, we were still only scratching the surface of the larger adventures to be had in Crimson Desert. There have been many games in the past that try to go for large, open-world settings, but don't often really justify the need to go big and bold. But we were honestly quite impressed to see that Crimson Desert is not only presenting a case for its take on an open-world action-adventure game, it is also having fun with the concept by pushing its attention to detail and just how much there is to unpack within the sprawling world. So far, Crimson Desert is showing a lot of promise. It's certainly been online for several years now, which has invited a host of comparisons with other large-scale games. But our extended hands-on time has made us feel optimistic and intrigued by the game's maximalist action style. And that's gotten us plenty interested in seeing if the full game can deliver on reaching the same highs as other genre greats.
Wow.
For more on the latest upcoming...
Wow, that looks insane. Looks like the game to end all games. Like, I hope this... Do you reckon the story's gonna be good? Like, it's looking like the sandbox open world is going to be good. It looks like a shitload to do. Let's check out that Digital Foundry PS5 video. Okay, already the quality of this is incredible compared to the IGN video. Wow. So this is truly closer to what it will be,
a game like Crimson Desert to
this is PS5 Pro.
It almost sounds like a fake game that you might have tried to pass off to your classmates back in the day. Like, I drifted my horse around the fields before stumbling into a giant circus performance, after which I made my way to the hills of the Great Bug Wars between giant metallic insects and gun-toting soldiers before visiting the fortress of the giant robots. After which I took a stroll on the beach before stumbling into a large city where I became a wanted criminal, only to escape by jumping off the castle's wall, to then find myself lost in a rainforest during a storm at night, before eventually emerging out into the Crimson Desert itself and climbing to its highest point to see the world that I had just traversed. Oh, and there's dragons you can fly around on, and giant bosses like Shadow of the Colossus, and you can swing like Spider-Man, and the combat makes you feel like a medieval John Wick. Like, seriously, I'm not one to normally get excited about open world games, as followers of DF might know, but Crimson Desert is crazy and ambitious in a way that I quickly became enamored with. I just wanted to see what was over the next hill. It really brought back that thrill of exploration. But all this ambition does not come for free, and nearly all of the promotional footage leading up to launch has focused on the PC version, which looks obscenely good, leaving people to wonder, did they hide the console version? Is it actually any good? Well, DF friends, wonder no more. Everything you've been seeing here today thus far has been captured from the console version of the game, and today we'll be exploring that experience. For this initial video, however, there is a word of caution. We've only had access to the PlayStation 5 Pro version thus far, but fear not, the other consoles are coming soon, and we'll tackle them in due time. For now, though, let's dive in.
This world looks so detailed.
Rare and exciting moment for us at Digital Foundry. In a landscape where Unreal Engine has become the default, and where its strengths and weaknesses are now largely predictable, Pearl Abyss has arrived with something genuinely new to explore. Their Black Space engine delivers results that are nothing short of remarkable. Yeah, there's some jank to contend with, of course, and we'll get to that, but the overall impression it leaves is striking.
It looks awesome.
From performance
I'm definitely going to be playing this.
Animation,
I think I'll stream
freedom, foliage, lighting, everything. It is a stunning game. And on PS5 Pro here, you actually don't lose that much. For starters, the game's ray tracing features are fully present and accounted for on the Pro.
Oh, cool.
The ray traced diffuse global illumination we highlighted in our PC preview The per pixel solution? Yeah, it's enabled here. This gives the game a fully dynamic, ray-traced driven lighting system. Sunlight pouring into a room naturally bounces across surfaces, creating dramatic, believable scenes, and it's all done fully dynamically. The same is true of local lights, which produce equally impressive results.
Oh my gosh.
You have a lantern in your inventory, for instance, which you can pull out at any time, and the light from your lantern produces ultra-dramatic scenes, especially
graphically,
at night where light is scarce.
This looks like a step up.
Scenes like this are particularly impressive. This battle here has lights being generated by the enemies that you're fighting, and all of it is fully real time with shadows and lights dancing realistically across the terrain. It makes the battle feel so dynamic.
That looks so cool.
The lighting has a distinctive quality that makes the world feel more convincing than most current-gen games. The bright blue skies stand out immediately, and the environment around your character shows clear atmospheric light scattering.
Like a 200-hour game, doesn't
it? The real-time
maybe even
of day
300
also pays off. Days and nights last longer than you usually see in games, and
my
nighttime
backlog
is genuinely
is
dark,
crying right now.
closer to something like, say, Dragon's Dogma, but with stronger, more consistent ray-traced lighting. The grass blades
this is
swing
what I
in the wind,
love,
the
just an
trees, the
immersive
foliage,
world, you know.
The interactions with the horse, the way every hoof matches the terrain. Yeah, there's definitely some visible LOD popping along the way, which I don't love, but given the scale and the performance, it's understandable.
Yeah, it's running really well.
I reached this lengthy wall running across the terrain and decided to ride full speed towards this scaffolding, and was surprised at how seamlessly you could leap off your horse and grab onto the structure.
Cool.
Very cool stuff. Of course, it was seemingly for nothing, as my horse was able to just walk right through here on the bottom when I called him. Oh well. So I continued, and my next idea was to sort of wreak havoc in a nearby field to test the game's physics and performance. That's where I discovered
that Elden
horse
Ring
drifting, where you can
destructibility,
sharply spin the horse around in circles,
rolling into barrels, you know.
Feels awesome.
Oh,
Impressively, most smaller objects
like my favorite thing to do.
Knocked down or destroyed by simply ramming into them, making this a lot of fun. There is a small delay when destroying physics-based items, but still, it feels really great. I then rode towards a small nearby village and attempted to knock down these things as well, only to mistakenly reveal an enemy that was just hiding in the middle. Then suddenly, from off screen, a giant guard leaped into action and eliminated him immediately. Whoa. With that, though, I decided to continue forward, looking for anything interesting, and it's here that I noticed the somewhat noisy ray-traced lighting visible along the foliage here, and that reminded me that we're looking at the original PSSR. We'll be very curious to see how this looks with the upgraded PSSR at launch. But moving forward,
it's going to look even better than this.
It was time to play around with some guards, just to sort of, and it's from this respawn point that I randomly stumbled upon this circus, and honestly, this one really surprised me as well because it felt strangely lively.
What the
hell? There was no story reason to be here, at least not yet. But wow, look at this. The frame rate, of course, was a little unstable here, but I was
look how many NPCs there are.
That there was an actual circus performance happening inside this tent, all lit with real-time ray tracing. Very, very cool, right?
What?
But eventually I survived Bug Hill and found this amazing orc city built upon a mountain, which looked wholly unlike anything else I'd seen in the game yet.
It looks
the sheer
incredible.
Level of detail, the pipes, and the ornate structure.
I think I've seen
really
enough.
Impressed.
Like, I don't want to see any more.
It was time to continue.
You know?
And as night fell, I noticed a city in the distance, and that city seemed to be illuminated by electric lights. Sure enough, it was.
It looks so interesting.
This sort of farmland was just spread out across the terrain. At first, we thought it was Nazca lines, but it's actually an electric farm of some sorts. Very strange. Very different mood as well.
Yeah.
The HDR in this scene, by the way, was very impactful. I loved both the lights with the strong highlight, as well as the beautiful night sky with its gorgeous volumetric cloud system. So I continued, climbing the mountain in the darkness with just my torch, fumbling around. Night is really dark in this game, and it makes navigation more treacherous. By this point, though, I managed to climb up the side of this
holy shit! This whole area looks insane.
Across the Crimson Desert itself. From the opening village to to the top of
The
this mountain
density
here,
of the
it took me
jungle
roughly
there.
4 hours of traversal and exploration.
Man,
So,
this is a
yeah,
hell
I
of a
think you get it
detailed
by now.
world.
The amount of
Yep.
variety and display here is outstanding, and what I've shown you is
I'm
just a
definitely
small
playing
taste,
this. This
a
looks
tiny
crazy.
path through the game world, a simple walk
Hopefully
from
the
one part
story
of the
can
map
be
to
like
another that became a
at
memorable
least half
adventure.
decent, you know?
And this is before exploring the character's abilities or allowing the story to get started. I
Yeah.
haven't felt this need to explore
combat,
since games like Red Dead
the
Redemption 2
immersiveness,
or perhaps Breath of the Wild.
the
This is
systems in
without a doubt
place.
one of the most impressive open world experiences I've ever had. I genuinely
Holy
found
shit.
myself asking the question, how the heck did they do this over and over again?
I'm so
It
glad I
really
kept
is that cool. And all of it worked great on PlayStation 5 Pro, even in this pre-release state.
That's what we want to hear.
Of course, it's not perfect. As noted, performance can dip at times. There are some visual bugs with the
Whoa.
displacement mapping
Oh,
and
yeah.
RT, and in some cases, actual bugs like here in the desert where
I'm
I
so
found
glad
myself
I stayed
swimming
away
above
from
the water
everything,
at
because
one
now I'm
point.
just like
Plus, the loading sequence when loading a save
overwhelmed
was
with all the
weirdly
information,
lengthy
just
with this
diving in
animation
head
and music
first.
that sort of plays out
I had
before
no
you drop
idea
into the
that it was
world,
going to be
which,
this
thankfully, respawning
detailed
on
with
death is
so
very
many
quick, and
systems.
there's no other loading times during actual gameplay, so it's not a huge deal. Even with all that, though, this is fantastic
Whoa.
on PS5 Pro. They actually did it. Which
They
brings
actually
us to the
did
end
it.
of our first contact with the game. There's still so much more to explore here. Like, I feel like I've just gotten started. And again, this is not a game that was super high on my hype list. It just
Yeah,
kind of came out
same.
of nowhere. And yet,
That's
what
how I
I've
feel.
played here just felt unbelievable at times, even on the console. So I'll be curious, of course, how it plays on other machines. And that's something we'll report on very soon. That's going to do it for this video, however.
Yeah,
so
holy
thanks for
shit.
watching, and we'll see you next time.
Wow, that's crazy. I wasn't expecting it to have like that many systems, look that good. Like, I can't wait just to see it natively on my screen on the console. I'm glad to hear the PS5 Pro is at least working and running, because I had seen a headline or something that it was only PC footage for a long time. Like, again, I was just kind of in the background. I'd seen bits and pieces about this, but to really dive in here, this has convinced me on why it's so hyped. And clearly we've only seen a slice. You know, there's so much more to it. That world map looked insane. It looked so big. Yeah. Man. I'm gonna have to stream this and play this game. Holy shit. I'm convinced, god damn it. Wow. Alright, well. Yeah. I'm kind of lost for words really, but yeah, if you like this video, please click like, and if you're interested, I'll probably be playing it later this week when it comes out. And yeah, please subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Goodbye.